Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We're live here. It's 4 p.m. Sunday at the Earthwork Harvest Gathering, virtual harvest. I've been going to harvest for a long time. My name is Samantha Cooper. I'm an Earthwork musician, and I always play sets here, give workshops, and I've never quite stepped into this territory at the Earthwork Harvest Gathering. And as always, I'm really grateful to the organizers of the Harvest Gathering and everybody involved for being so willing to truly make this a gathering, right? Where there's music that happens, there's panels, workshops, any number of beautiful improvisational things that just happen when so many interesting people come together. And this year, we asked if we could have an interview and a conversation with two dear friends. And so, again, my name is Samantha Cooper. You can call me Sam. And I'll let this person introduce themselves next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gerardo Reyes, or Gerardo. I just came to get to know Earthworks Harvest Gathering in the last few years. And it's a beautiful event and organization. And I'm really glad to be able to be a part of it and help spread, beautiful words and, bring more beautiful people into it. I work at Circle Pine Center in Delton, Michigan. And I'm just glad to be here and glad to share the space with everyone.
And we'd like Derek and Iris to get a chance to introduce themselves. They're on the other Zoom room call.
Hi, I'm Derek Freridge. I'm a member of Circle Pines and have been for 7 years or so. This is my wife, Iris. Iris?
Yep. My name is Iris or Iris, and I'm married to Derek, and I've been do a lot of volunteer. And one of the place I've been volunteer is one of my favorite is Circle Pine Center. And yeah, and it's there where I meet these beautiful people, Sam and Gerardo. So yeah.
Well, we're really glad that y'all are joining us today. I thought we would start by, I'll just read a quick summary of what is happening right now. There's so much happening in your lives that's not this, but unfortunately, you guys have to focus on this right now. So we thought we'd start by reading this summary for people that are just coming up on this live stream and hadn't heard about the description. So I'll read this below. Iris arrived in the US in 2004 from El Salvador, seeking her then husband, who she found had abandoned her and her son, Henry. While seeking safe haven in the US, she narrowly escaped the trafficking industry, but not without having what became a crucial residency document thrown out by a trafficker. The lack of that document in this current political climate initiated the steps leading up to ICE's deportation order. After escaping in 2004, Iris moved to Michigan, got married to Derek, a US citizen, and had 2 US-born children, DJ and Raven, in addition to her son, Henry. Iris is a beloved volunteer at Circle Pine Center and a valued community member in many circles. ICE recently denied her family's appeal to reopen her case, which had been pending since January 2019. Iris has an appointment at the Detroit ICE office this coming Thursday, so within days here, September 24th, 2020. And we're asking people to peacefully assemble nearby if needed, and to please consider donating to her GoFundMe or sharing it if you're not able to share it. And the GoFundMe is titled Help Keep Iris Here, which I think has 2 exclamation points. Did you want to add anything to that?
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Iris and Derek, did you want to add anything to that summary before we get started?
Yeah, well, I mean, our paperwork and stuff goes back to when we were married in 2006, and I initially filed for her residency. And so this has been an ongoing issue for for 14 years.
Hmm. And this was a check-in basically that was missed because of the paperwork that was lost, correct?
Well, through the process of applying for her permanent residency, we were given a initial approval saying they had a resident visa reserved for her, and we had to have one more step, and this would have been in 2016, right before the general election for president.
Right.
And after and we're supposed to have a meeting with Citizenship and Immigration. After that meeting is when we would have gotten our resident visa. The election took place before that meeting occurred, and then that meeting didn't occur for almost 2 years instead of the 90 days we were told, because of the rearranging of Homeland Security and ICE and Citizenship and Immigration by the new administration. Once we were given the meeting, we were told that because of the issue with that missing immigration paper from way back when, our case was being denied and dismissed, and Iris was then put into custody of ICE for removal. And that is when we started filing to reopen the original case from that initial document being lost, which was then subsequently denied, which we then appealed, and that appeal was denied. In both cases, it was just dismissed without them really examining the case, telling us it was just too old and that they weren't going to do it. And so here we are.
Yeah, and then this is basically 15 years of Iris just, living and being a mother and,
A volunteer, because
volunteer.
without her residency papers, she can't get a license to drive. She can't work. And I didn't want her to break any laws, so she has never worked or received a license or done anything else. She's been basically the mother of her children, the homekeeper, volunteer at the schools, volunteer for other community organizations,
Community garden and
a community garden organization, Circle Pines,
chef at Circle Pines. Yeah.
chef at Circle Pines Summer Camp as a volunteer.
What do you got under that beard, Derek?
Oh, my Circle Pines.
Nice shirt. So I don't know if let's see, time to start. I don't know if a lot of people, probably a lot of people do know about El Salvador was in a civil war for about 12 years, a U.S. militarily backed civil war, where I think upwards of 70,000 people lost their lives. And there were, it was basically, the poor, farmers, students, workers trying to gain some, democracy in their lives, that were constantly being, ruled over by, authoritarian, military rulers, oligarchs. So this is where Edith was coming from. Can you tell us a little bit about your life during that time, Edith?
Yeah. Well, I remember, I was like 6 years old, 5, when things bad start over there, civil war. And I remember, well, we're not allowed to be knowing what's going on, because I don't know, parents there, they keep you, like like they think this is only for older people. So, and anyway, but I remember because we have to do stuff at home, and I remember we go to the river one day, and and because we have to go early in the morning, like 3 or 4, between 3 and 5, everybody kind of go to the river to go for water. We have like a one um no plastic contain yeah, like a plastic container we call cántaros, and we put water over there, but we have to walk maybe like 1 mile or half a mile. And I remember my dad told us, okay, we have to keep hands by hand, we have to hold hands, and we have to keep going. And because it was really dark, and I remember we go, what's the stuff, because we have to cross the Pan American Highway and to go to the river. So, and I remember I feel like it's something over there, and my parents say, oh, or my stepmom and my dad say, oh, don't worry, this is like a banana tree. That's why it's a little bit squishy. Because when we go, we feel that thing, we cannot see it because they don't have a flashlight, because it was dangerous. You put your flashlight, they can shoot you. But anyway, we are like, what is that? Oh, it's banana tree. And we go and pick up the water, and when we back a little bit more light, but that was banana tree. It was body of people with no head and no arm and no legs. And me like I was so, what is that? And my stepmom and my dad said, it's nothing important for you. You just keep going and let's go home. So, and sometime, in the afternoon, we hear people walking in the street, and we have to be quiet and be at home and not make a lot of noise. And my dad was because over there when they turn 16, I think everybody has to go to be a military or something like that, because my dad was, when he was a little kid, he has to be a soldier, so he has to go there.
They drafted everybody.
Yeah, because if you don't go over there, they put you in jail. That is what he told me. So, and when this thing, I remember we collect the picture, we have it about when my dad was a military, when he was younger, and we went and make a hole in the and behind our house, and by the trees make a big hole and put everything, have it like a, have it some kind of relation about he being military, because the military and guerrilla, they were against to one to the other, and it doesn't matter if you are a kid or, but you are part of, like if they see me, was my dad was a military, they can even kill us. And both was the same, like military went over there and do exactly the same thing to other people. So but now I growing old and me like, oh my gosh, how, go through all these things. And and we're lucky because I know people over there, they lost their eyes because military pull their eyes out, or like stuff like that. Neighbor, my uncle emigrate, he was a part of guerrilla, and he emigrated to Canada because he can get killed over there. So it was really hard for us to living over there in that time. I just feeling afraid, and I remember was like a lot of soldiers over there, and we always feeling afraid to everything. In life is be afraid to everything, I guess, everywhere.
Like, yeah.
So
Very brave. And to tie right into that, unfortunately, about a week ago tomorrow, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals overturned humanitarian protections for El Salvador and Haiti, people who immigrated from El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua, and the Sudan. So unfortunately, we have to see what happens, from that decision, although it's, obviously it's terrible right now as is. So, okay. Edith, how old were you when you traveled up to these territories?
I was 29.
Wow.
So now you know how old I am.
You told me you were 29 right now.
29 and oh my gosh. And now we are 46.
And Henry was 5 when you came?
No, Henry was 8.
8,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he was 8.
And when did you meet this handsome bearded gentleman? And how?
Oh, well, when I came to this country, I was, I want to come and meet my first husband because Derek is my second husband, but is Henry's father. And when I came over here, he already have another family. So, and I was in the middle of was in the middle of nowhere, but I was in Texas and I was so afraid because I don't know anyone and I don't know any English, nothing, zero. And I remember I was crying in one bench and someone stopped over there, I remember, and he say, he asked me what happened, and Henry was hungry and really cold, and I don't have anything. And he say, "Hey, don't worry." He speak to me in Spanish, and he say he was from El Salvador, and I believe him because I don't know, I don't know. And I was
It's because you're desperate.
and after I was Henry was so hungry, I remember, and this guy say, "Well, if you come with me, I can buy you food and something for your kid," because Henry was really cold. So, and he went and buy us food and sweaters, and he take us to. He called me. We were in West Virginia, but
They
no.
were really in Maryland.
We were in Maryland, but I don't know anything though. I don't know. He told me it was West Virginia, but anyway, and we went over there and he told me, and he took me to one apartment. I was so afraid, but I don't know. I thought, okay, in my mind, I say, something he doing, I think I can defend myself. But when I went, he take me to apartment, and over there was like 20 people living in two bedroom apartment. And I thought he was so nice because he let these people to stay there, and they were like me. They don't have a place to go, and they can speak English. So, and he was really nice. That is the way I see it. He was really nice because he came and he buy food for us, and everybody sleep over there, but he made sure everybody have a job. So, and he told me I has to work. He already have a job for me, and it looked like it was like, to me looked like it was a restaurant, weird restaurant, because they have a lot of mirrors and women just use really little shirts and the skirt really tiny, and I'm not used to that. And like, oh my god, how I gonna be working there? But I told him I cannot be working because I was pregnant. But not was pregnant. I don't feeling, yeah, I don't know, I don't want to work there.
Mhm.
So, and after he say, okay, if you're pregnant and you want to be over here, you have to, or uh, you have to make food for everybody and clean and take care of this house because everybody is working. And we're like, okay, I can do that. And after he asked me about if I have any paperwork, and I say yes. And
Mhm.
he say, can I see it? And I'm like, yeah. And I show it to him, and he say that was really dangerous to have this paperwork. So he take it and he rip it off. And I'm like,
And
oh,
that's, yeah. And that was the crucial paperwork that
That's
basically
crucial
set
paperwork
things.
that led to where we are now.
yeah. So anyway, and after he say, I over there, I remember was one woman, she was pregnant, but she was like really pregnant, like maybe 8 months. And she told me, you should call your family or someone you have over here. And she bring me like a little a calling card. She give me like some calling card, and me like I called my stepmom and I told her in El Salvador, I told I kind of work and I think I kind of go back because my husband have other family. I don't feeling confident over here, and I feeling a little bit afraid to this new culture because I thought everything was normal the way how I see this guy take care of us. And I don't know, something weird. I was feeling like something was weird, but I now was sure though, because it's new country and I don't know anything about anything over here. So, and after my stepmom, so I called that and I told that, and she said, well, I have my brother living in Michigan. Why you should not call him? And I'm like, okay, can I call him? Oh, because we don't have a phone over there in the apartment. But this woman, when she gave me the calling card, she say, when you go do laundry, because I have to do laundry for everybody. And she say, when you do laundry, you just go to the phones over there and do the call for your family. And we're like, okay. So, and after I talked with my mom, my stepmom, I called my uncle over here in Michigan, and I explained how I was feeling, and he said, "Where are you?" And I told where I was in West Virginia, and he said, "Just look for the name of the road and give it to me." So I did that, and they say, you are over there in Virginia, you are in Maryland. And we're like, oh my God. So, and he said, don't say anyone to any about this call. We're gonna go get it tomorrow. So my uncle was married with,
Her uncle was married to my sister.
yeah.
And they drove down there and talked to the traffickers, because these were human traffickers that had been helping her, and they had these people working for them and making money for them.
Right.
Yeah, but they know one.
The traffickers didn't want to let her go.
Yeah, they say you cannot go and you have to stay here. And after my uncle, I don't know, my uncle went and talked to them, and his wife, she says, get in the car. And I got in the car with Henry, and we just came to Michigan. I leave whatever stuff I have it over there, and well,
yeah, she just left everything, jumped in the car, and came to Michigan.
So, and that time was close to Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So I met him on Thanksgiving Day.
So my sister and her husband, her uncle, brought her and Henry to Thanksgiving dinner at my mom and dad's house. And my mom and dad were getting ready to sell their house and move. So it was the last big Thanksgiving house at the home we all grew up in.
Mm.
And that's how we met.
Yep.
Wow.
Thanksgiving Day. And that day snow was so beautiful though, because I never see a snow. I'm like, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
It snowed. We had a snowball fight. It was a lot of fun.
I'm gonna rename it Edith's Day for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna call it now.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm thankful for that day.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh,
Whew.
yep.
So-
And after that, I thought, wow, he's so cute. He's so white, and his eyes so lovely. And he was just around me, and I not speaking any English, and he not
I didn't
speak
speak any Spanish.
So, and that is how we met. And after he was visiting his sister.
I was visiting my sister a lot because she's just staying there. I
Yeah.
bought
Oh,
these
big coincidence.
Yes, right. I bought 3 Spanish-English dictionaries so I could look up like a sentence and say something to her, and then I'd give them to her, and she'd look something up to say to me.
Oh,
About 3 or 4 hours, we could have a 10-minute conversation.
Yeah. So that is how we started everything.
Yeah. And then less than 2 years later, we were married.
Mhm.
wow.
And now we have 4 kids together.
Yeah, I adopted Henry after we were married, and then I have a daughter from before who's a little older. So together we got 4 kids.
That's right.
Beautiful. So I imagine that some people listening don't have any close friends that they've ever known who are currently facing potential deportation. I know that I didn't before I met you, Iris. So maybe you guys could share what's it been like dealing with the ICE agents? What's it been like dealing with this situation? I know it's hard to encapsulate, but.
Well, for me, it's scary, it's stressful, and I don't know, it's tense, like I never know where they gonna come for me, and I don't know how.
Well, it's like dealing with a bully and trying not to piss them off because they have the power and you don't.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much up their discretion what they do.
But I guess, I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit lucky because I have a white person by me.
Yes.
And like before, Derek don't know it, like you, Sam. My husband before, he don't know was people like me or going to a problem just like me.
No, it was like an abstract thing that wasn't part of my life really.
Yeah.
Dealing with ICE, the officers are a little nicer to us, I think, and it's because of me. Because when we're at the ICE agency and I see them talking to people, they treat them like they're little kids. And these are people that are older than them or the same age as them or younger, and they treat them all the same. And if the people don't speak English well or understand them well, they yell at them and they treat them very poorly.
You're talking about people from Latin American countries or South American?
Any of the immigrants we saw at the ICE office, they don't treat them as equals or as if, even if they're people sometimes. Like one man was trying to explain that he had some paperwork that he wanted to show the officer, and he's like, I don't want to see that. Sit down. I'll call you when I'm ready.
Jeez.
And it's right in front of everybody. It's just very, it feels like they're just being bullies. They're a little more polite to me because when we were there, we had our lawyer, and they're polite to the lawyers, but they're not super nice to anyone else.
Well, we came up with a brief summary of what this has been like financially for you guys, and I'll just summarize it here. It's okay. So Derek and Iris have spent and raised almost $40,000 fighting this for the last almost 14 years. They spent nearly, what's that, Derek?
I said, yep, that's correct.
They spent nearly $20,000 fighting this in the first 13 years. In the last 2 years alone, they have spent almost $20,000 more. This is really hard to comprehend. And we're wondering, of course, what about the people who don't have the time, the money, community, and privilege to fight this? Because as you guys have alluded to, you do have some of those things, and you have a GoFundMe, and you guys are
We have a
very community oriented, and you have a community around you, even though you could still use a lot more support.
We have a support system through our friends, our family, places Iris has volunteered. We had outpouring of people writing letters in support of us. And we have access to lawyers. I mean, granted, they're expensive, but we've raised money. People have helped us.
Yeah.
People that don't have that kind of privilege don't stand a chance, you know?
Yeah, last year when all these things happened and they arrest me, I told Derek I don't want to do that thing because he is how I can say, he is just a regular man, have a job, and
We're a single income family because she can't work.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we don't have the extra money, and be looking for a lawyer mean other lawyer mean more money, and we don't have it that one.
Because at the time, our current lawyer
Mhm.
couldn't represent us at the court system because we had to go back to the original court that issued the paperwork, and that was
In
from
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
So she put us in touch with a lawyer from Texas, and that lawyer charged $375 an hour. That's $375 an hour.
Yeah. So
And that was one of the lower priced lawyers.
Yeah.
But she had a very good reputation.
So, and I told her I'm not doing this because, you know, we have a kid, our kid in the school, you have a house.
Our oldest son was in college.
Yeah, and you have to keep working for take care everything. So we don't have extra money to do other stuff. So, and I told him I'm not doing this. And after he came with the idea to the GoFundMe, and thanks to all these people, I stay at least 1 year more with my kid.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
Beautiful.
raised $10,000, I think, the first 2 weeks of the GoFundMe.
Wow.
And we spent that pretty quick. The lawyer fees and I used it to pay for travel back and forth to the ICE office because we had to check in every month. And now we do, then it was every other month and stuff.
Yeah, but all this money just go like a poof with paying
Yeah.
the lawyers and paperwork, because we have to start over other time. Every time when we want to do something, we have to start
You
over.
got to file new paperwork. Each time you do that, there's more fees, more filing, more money for the lawyer.
Yeah.
Mhm. And and like Sam had said before, most people don't have the resources, the time,
No.
the
Yeah.
ability to
Yeah.
put up a struggle to resist the
Yeah.
onslaught of
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of the people in the Hispanic communities that are that don't have documentation, when they're arrested, they don't have friends and family that can help them pull money together. They usually end up in their home country within days, sometimes weeks, after being held at detention facilities, if they can muster or get a lawyer, because sometimes their families and stuff will get them a lawyer, but then the lawyer will help them, but it usually doesn't help much.
right.
So I feeling like a little bit really lucky to have a people support our situation, and have a Derek by me, because at least he can drive me around, we can go shopping, and we are not doing anything illegal. Like if Derek is other person, like from another country, and he don't have a paperwork, but we have kid, he has to go
Gotta
driving,
go to work, you gotta
go
drive.
work.
People live their entire lives in fear because a single traffic stop could end everything they know and love.
I mean, speeding ticket,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and that could be it.
Yeah.
It's
That
not
could
like,
be it.
Yeah.
That'll put you on their radar, and then they'll say, "Oh, she's a criminal," and they'll pick you up.
yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize when someone can be classified as a, quote unquote criminal. It could just be anything from, a small traffic infraction or, just anything that can happen accidentally in your daily life. Anyone else, would not be at
Big
risk.
deal. You pay the fine and you go on.
Yeah. hmm And and most of the people are just working their lives, trying to feed their families, and, have a better life.
Right. Well, and the point we're at now with our case being denied reopen is it looks more than likely she will be removed in the future. And what we're doing now is with our GoFundMe is trying to save up money so that we can get a safe place for her to stay when we're in El Salvador and start trying to build a life there. Because depending on what happens in the future, we're either all going to move there or we're going to fight to get her to come back. But it depends on what happens in the near future. We're hoping that they won't remove her until at least school's out, because the kids are, because of the COVID situation, the schools are all online in our community. And she's the only one home with them during the day most of the time. And it would be really hard on us if she's not here to help them.
Yeah. Your next appointment is coming up on the 24th.
Yep.
And
That's when we're going to talk to a ICE removal agent to see what they say and what they'll listen to.
And what is your best case request that you're gonna?
Our best case scenario is they wait until school's out, and then we can all go as a family. I'll purchase the tickets. We'll fly commercially. We'll stay at a bed and breakfast or a hotel, and we'll start looking for a rental property or a apartment or a house or someplace in a safe area for us to all stay. And hopefully the best case scenario is the immigration reform will be passed, and then she'll be, with immigration reform being passed, I'll be able to then petition for her to come back, because once you're deported, it's usually a 10-year ban before you're allowed to come back to the country.
Right.
There are exceptions for that, and we would qualify for those exceptions as being a family and everything. So in best case scenario, it would be 2 years or more before she could come back. Worst case scenario, there is no immigration reform. The laws get worse. She won't be back in 10 years. And possibly never if the immigration laws change for the worse. So.
Yeah. And I guess, it's again, the point of this, all this is to raise awareness that it could be, your neighbor, friend of a friend. There's a mythology, an incorrect mythology about who this affects,
Who is in charge of our government has an impact, and our current administration is very anti-immigrant.
Right.
They're pushing everything farther than it needs to go. And under the Democrat side, they're pushing for immigration reform. So our best case scenario is there is a regime change and immigration reform happens. So I would hope everyone would get out and vote with that in mind.
Mm-hmm. So how can people, this community, the Earthwork Harvest Gathering community, I feel like they embody that sense of radical hospitality really well. Just a lot of people that like sharing and having fun together. And, with that in mind, I think there's a lot of people who either are right now or will connect with your story, and how best can they help this week and then beyond this week too.
Well, if everything happens badly this week, a peaceful protest to raise awareness would be nice.
At the appointment, the 24th.
Yeah. If things go good and they let us keep living here, a little celebration for that maybe afterwards. I would think people need to keep in mind that if this can happen to us, imagine all the people it happens to that don't have what we have, and keep that in their mind when they think about who they're going to vote for this November, because that's going to have a huge impact. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, there's no difference," but there is a difference, especially to the vulnerable and the underrepresented that don't have a voice in our democracy.
So for this appointment on Thursday, what's the best way for people who want to support and peacefully assemble if it's needed? What's the best way for them to know when to drive there and do that?
Probably they need to follow your links, because I'm going to give you the updates on what's going on so that you can let other people know. There are some other groups out there that people could connect with that they're interested. Their Rapid Response is one of the groups. There's one in Detroit. There's one in Grand Rapids. I believe there's one here in Lansing also.
We can definitely spread it on our Facebook feeds, on all our social media worlds. Just make an announcement if we need to, asking for people to come to the office.
Show up
in Detroit and just support.
Right.
Yeah, it's in Detroit.
Hopefully we won't need to do that. The other thing is spread awareness that this is happening, because it's one of those things that's been going on that nobody really talks about, and it happens every day. People are picked up and they just disappear from this life, and they end up dropped into another country that maybe they haven't been to in 20 or more years, or ever. Maybe they were brought over here as a very small child.
Yeah.
I read about one woman from Korea. She was brought over here as a child. She thought she was adopted, but they never did the paperwork right. She lived here for almost 60 years, and they just deported her back to Korea. She doesn't know how to speak Korean.
I know there was a woman from Mexico that there was an article about, who'd been just taken away from her family.
Yes.
Her children.
A lady from Mexico. She dropped her youngest kids off at daycare and went to work. She was detained in the parking lot of her work, and less than 48 hours later, she was in Mexico. Her kids now live with her oldest daughter, who her kids are all US citizens, so they live together, and she just was gone like that.
I think we'll only know in the future how many thousands of people are being affected like this.
If people want to directly support us through our GoFundMe, I do use those funds to help support. I have to take time off from work. I have to go drive there, food, taking care of our kids, all that. Plus, we're trying to save up for when we do go to El Salvador, because it looks more than likely we will be going eventually. And that's what we're trying to raise funds at this point for, to get a safe place there.
Right.
Because not every place is safe there.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we are 5 and we don't have the money to buy, 5 tickets to go to El Salvador. So, and at least I need, my kid, because my kid, they love over here. This is the school they know, the friend they have, their family are over here. And they are 12 and 14, my little ones, and I feeling like Derek, no, I don't know how he's gonna do to buy ticket and send the boys over there, or I don't know, maybe at least I can see 3 times in the year to my kid. Or I just don't know though. And that all these things are helping. And if I leave, that also they're gonna keep working with my paperwork, and it's gonna be other time, more money, new paperwork, because
we
the
have to start
date
over all from the very beginning, and all the money
again
I've already spent and all the
doesn't
time we already
matter.
spent will be like square one again
Yeah.
once she's removed.
Mhm. I mean, you know, and this is, you know, compliance, you know, for fear of, you know, detention, you know, which has
Right. And
a whole
you've been
gamut.
reading about what happens at these detention centers, right? So we don't
Yeah.
want that. We don't want to experience that.
I mean, you know, physical assault, sexual assaults, you know, no COVID guidelines, you know, people are subjected to, you know, the worst conditions. But you know what, can you tell us a little bit about, you know, the family and the kids and what they want to do in the future and everything, and what they dream about?
Yeah. So my oldest daughter is married and has a son who's 3 years old, and she's pregnant with a second child due in November. She lives in Delton, Michigan, and works in Kalamazoo, and her husband works in Kalamazoo, and they're doing good. They're supporting us as much as they can. Our oldest son, Henry, recently graduated from college. He went to Michigan Tech University. He got his degree in what is it, business marketing, and he's working right now part-time because he has a hard time finding a full-time job because he is protected by DACA. So
Dreamers, right?
He's a dreamer, yes, and he's protected by that, but he has a hard time finding a full-time job in the field he wants to be in because of that. People see that on his paperwork and they shy away, but he's still looking, and a lot of times they'll find work. It just takes longer. And as long as he's protected, he'll be fine here. Our younger boys, Derek Jr., we call him DJ. He's a freshman in high school. He's not sure what he wants to be, but he thinks he wants to be a scientist like me. I'm a microbiologist by trade. So he's planning on going to college, and he'll figure things out. Our youngest, he wants to be an astrophysicist. He's smart.
Wow.
Yeah, he's wanted to be one for like the last 8 years, I swear. Ever since he saw a nova. And but he's studying hard. He's in 8th grade. He wants to go to college too. We're not sure if she has to go. They might have to go down and stay with her part of the time and go to school online. We're not sure how that'll work out yet. It's something we're gonna have to figure out still.
Well, I'll tell you what, this 50 minutes flew by, and we are about at time. So I really appreciate you guys meeting with us and talking.
Well, I appreciate the chance to get our story out there a little bit. Up until now, we've been kind of hesitant to go into a public forum like this because
we're afraid.
There's a lot of backlash sometimes, and we're hesitant to give a negative impression of what we're going through because of the backlash that we can get sometimes. And so we hope everything goes good in the near future, but we never know.
We just have to keep going. Doesn't matter how hard it is, just have to keep going. And thank you everybody to help us and support us, not just with money, but
it's it's knowing there's people that care, that really
Yes.
keep us going. And we really appreciate that from everyone.
We love you.
And we love you guys
Thank
too.
you.
Have a good night, you guys. And thanks again to Harvest Gathering for
Thank you.
hosting us.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thanks,
you.
Harvest Gathering.
Yay.
Thanks all the people
Take
listening.
care.
Bye.